Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. It's been 3 years since I've seen this little bitty creek flow with that much water. This is our timeless fence, sheep fence that we put in back in 2019. I was just walking it. I've been down here just checking ponds and pleasantly surprised how much some of these ponds have come up. And pull him off the hot wire here. And I'm also pleasantly surprised how little brush has grown up on this timeless fence. So this is a 2-wire. The bottom one is for the sheep. And this does have the 46 joule charger on it. It's got the big one. It's actually powering 5 farms. And so you can take a lot of vegetative load. That's one of our corners. We use 1.25" sucker rod. You can buy those. I don't ship them. We're out of stock right now on them, but you can also buy them through Powerflex. And just go to their, we'll use that code. I've got it on multiple videos. And I'm gonna touch that first. That fence is so hot, I don't wanna take a chance. That fence is hot enough, it'll light you up. And we need to tighten that bottom wire. We haven't been down here this year yet. There haven't been any animals in here. But that wire is down on the ground actually. I just tested the voltage a while ago at 7,000. And that's with that wire right on the ground. But anyway, you can get your own sucker rods, those 1.25" from Powerflex. And of course, these are the timeless posts that I just love. These are 4-footers. We drove them about every 20 feet, depending on the terrain. If it's a little flatter, you can go 25. If it's something like this, or you have a bend, and it goes down and it comes back up, you may only get to go 10 feet. You just got to watch the terrain. I found these steppers. I guess they fell off the foliar when we were setting up the fence. Anyway, these are the good ones. These are the O'Briens. Knocked the leaves off the spikes, so you can see. There we go. Almost. I sharpen all mine. So those have been sharpened like a spear point. Just makes them go on the ground easier. I do want to put a disclaimer in there. Don't sharpen them if you have kids. Because kids are just a little bit more rambunctious. They can throw stuff sometimes. You know, they actually are kind of a spear. And there's a fiberglass rod we left down here. To tell Isaac about that one, that's a good one. That's 1.25". That's an 8-footer. Yep. We just forgot it was down here, I guess, when we were building the fence. It's an awful good corner, though. But yeah, these timeless posts, you know, they are the insulator themselves. They're pre-drilled. We just run the wire through the holes, and they've got a marker on them that shows you how deep you can drive them. So you don't have to paint them, you don't have to drill them, you don't have to sharpen them. And you can use a steel T-post driver to drive the 1.25". Now, if you go up to 1.5" and 1 3/4, you may need to get a bigger pipe on your driver so that it fits around that. They're shaped just like a T-post. I tell you, they bend. Trees can fall on this fence, and those things will bend over to the ground. And you cut that tree off, and in about 7 to 10 days, that darn post is standing straight up. I didn't believe it, but I had it happen to me. I had a big tree fall on one, and I left it on there for 2 weeks because I didn't have time to mess with it. And when I cut it off, I just knew that that post was ruined. It was ruined. It would never straighten back up because it was a complete shape of a U. It had a U shape on it. Oh, there's our daisy tensioners. I love those. That's what makes your fence tight, folks. I'm just doing a little cleanup on this fence as I walk up through here. I'm also keeping my eyes peeled for mushrooms. Now that we caught, let's see, altogether, we got 3 1/4 inches this morning, and then we were at 2 4/10 2 days ago. I mean, this water is just, this ground's saturated. And so, yeah, there's water running everywhere. I haven't seen this for 3 years. And I'm not gonna complain about it at all. There's a bunch of leaves built up right there. You can tell there's a lot of water came down that ditch. I just opened that up so it could drain. So this is Cindy's back 40. And we decided to put the fence in the brush versus out there on the field. Several advantages to doing that is it doesn't get the sunlight back in here, and so you don't get as much brush growing up on your fence. Another advantage is there's no shade out there in that field. So on a really hot day, you know, the animals are only on that paddock right there for half a day. They can come in here and stomp around a little bit, trim up some of these saplings, get a little shade, a little more comfort. And in the wintertime, I've seen them laid down in here. When it's, 10, 20 below zero, they'll come down in these cedar patches like this, and they'll be laying right there, escaping the wind. It's the wind that gets them. They can take cold weather, but that wind's a different deal. Okay. Yep. I'm really happy with the way this fence is performing. Now see, there's a low spot, and so we just take a little fiberglass rod and drive it at a 45, and that keeps it from popping up. And that bottom wire right there on this fence, that is cold. But when you put sheep in here, they think that's hot, and they won't go underneath it. There's a turkey feather. I had the best turkey season I've had this year for a long time. Both days I went out opening morning on Mondays of each week, and I was able to get my bird both Monday mornings. Tell you what, that's pretty tough. Turkeys are smart, but this year Greg outfoxed them. There's a lot of years turkeys outfoxed Greg. And I hunted the whole season, never got a shot, never even got a bird. Didn't even get an opportunity to shoot at a turkey. I mean, they're sharp birds. Now, what do you reckon brought that back here? Look at that. It's all chewed up. I bet a coyote had that in his mouth. It's a beer can. I'm half a mile from the road, back here in the brush. Now this low water crossing, because there's not much water coming through here, that one's tied on hot with a nickel press crimp. Those are the best crimps, the nickel press. And They allow you to put a crimp on your wire or add on anywhere you want. See, I just stepped over that. That's 28 inches. That's the cattle wire. Look how clean this is up through here, folks. This has been in for 3 years. Yes, I've got an autumn olive right here. I can get him. There's another little one. But it's manageable. You know, you can come in here with loppers, lop them and give them a little bit of my magic potion, and he's done. But the reason there's no brush in here is because of all the cedars. So, yeah. My goodness, what is that? Something that thrives in cedars. Moss. Folks, you can't grow animals in this. You just can't. So if you let cedars take over your farm, this is what you'll have. You'll have zero grass. And that's because the needles that drop off the cedars are acidic. And they actually kill the grass. Now let's just step out of here real quick. I want to show you this nice little pond. This used to be Marshall Colley's farm. And now it's Cindy's. Cindy Steve. And we call it Cindy's 40. She bought it from, Steve and Cindy bought it from Marshall's daughter. Still a fair amount of broom sedge right here on this ridge. We have limed it. We've unrolled hay on it, and it's getting better. I know there's still a lot here. But you should have seen it 20 years ago. Even when Marshall owned it, it was bad. This was all cedar trees. This is 100% cedar trees and moss. So you got to remember what we started with. 100% cedar, 100% moss. We cut them, we pushed them off, and then Johnny came back 7 years later and pushed all the stumps out. And now we can safely come in here and unroll hay without tearing up equipment. There's our limited skirt access over there. That pond's got a permanent fence all the way around it, and animals cannot get into it. It's going out the spillway. This little pond catches quite a bit of water. I love the sound of water going out the spillway. I know beavers don't. We've got a lake on another farm. We got beavers in there. And they're always damming up the spillway. And that's kind of a danger, because you dam up your spillway where the water can't go out. And go back over that fence, Greg. The water can't go out the spillway and you get a big rain. Well, then the water's going to rise up and go over the top of your dam. And then you're in trouble. It could wash the dam out on your pond or lake. I love beavers. I do. But I'm afraid those in that lake may be having to find another home, because the landowner doesn't want them in there. And they're just scared they're going to lose their lake. They love beaver as much as I do. But, yeah. I tell you what now, that's only a 1-inch fiberglass rod. But it's 6 foot long. It's in the ground 4 foot. And then I'm telling you folks, I built this fence in 2019 and we haven't yet done anything to it other than just pull some brush off it now. Okay. Just throw a few limbs off, that's it. If you notice the posts, they're still very pristine. There's no fading, there's no moss growing on them. I did have a competitor's composite post. Folks, them was the ugliest post. They had moss growing all over them, lichens, and they were wobbly. And if you hit them accidentally with a four-wheeler or something, they'd snap off. These don't. I'm sold on them. I've got them, I think from one end to the other, this fence is 3/4 of a mile long. And we pulled it with 2 sections. So we made 2 corners. And so it took altogether three sets of 2 of the tensioners. And there's our power feed going up in that tree. It's hooked to an insulator. Yep. And then that goes out to that pond I just showed you. So it keeps the cattle out of the pond. Let's see if we got any more brush up through here. I'm telling you, this thing is just as clean as a dinner plate. So we're using 170,000 PSI high tensile wire. That's what we use. And it's the best wire out there. There's a low spot. I just pulled the wire down with a fiberglass rod. Now here, the post, the wire is fastened to the outside of the post. And you're saying, but Greg, why did you do that? Well, the reason we did it is this section of wire was recycled. So some wire we took up on another farm. It's probably got 4 or 5 crimps in it. We crimped the wire together. And when you crimp the wire together, it will not pull through those holes. So that's why we ran it on the outside. Matter of fact, here we go. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Let me get a better angle. There we go. That's a steel crimp. Okay? And that crimp will not go through those holes. So you can reuse high tensile on timeless. Just use 12 gauge soft galvanized and do that. 2 turns and it's good to go. And that's been up now 5 years. Yep, 5 years. It'll be another 50 years or more. I mean, these posts, they don't rust. They don't rot. They don't conduct electricity. And the best part of this post is made right here in good old United States of America. Yep. Down there in Tennessee. Keeps them Tennessee boys employed. We don't need to be making everybody overseas employed. We need to make Americans employed. And then they can buy a house. And they can buy a little plot of land. And then they can start getting some animals. Or start a business or whatever. You know? We can't be shipping all of our manufacturing overseas. I worked at a really big company before I quit my town job. I worked there for 29 years, and I saw them dismantle a lot of jobs, and they all went to China. Yep. And a lot of that factory now is sitting empty, not producing anything. So, yeah. Wow, look at that. That is a... Never seen a rock shaped quite like that. And it's got fossils in it. Look at that. I'm going to take that one home for Jan. Put it in her flower bed. That's a cool shaped rock. It almost looks like a hatchet head. But it's not. It doesn't have a... It's just cool. Anyway, folks, I'm going to get everything wound up here. I still got some ponds to go check on and some fences. After that big rain, the big couple rains we had. And believe it or not, it's supposed to start again tonight around 4 o'clock. So we're not going to turn down one drop of rain. And we're in the spring flush, folks. We need the rain to get this grass going. It was stalled out. It wasn't coming back. And now we've got the power behind it. We got rain. So yeah, y'all be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. And hit that subscribe button on the way out. Have a great day.